you. I'm sure you'll do an incredible job with curating this session. Over to you.
Hello, mic testing. Okay, bad throat, so I normally don't sound so hoarse. My apologies. So before we kind of get on to this, Badalta Bharat, how new infrastructure is redefining OH, I have a very important announcement to make. Jhalmuri stalls are now a part of the new infrastructure of this country. Okay, that fell flat. All right, so wonderful to have a panel of very, very interesting people. Ashish, HDFC, lots of questions for you, of course. That's going to happen, obviously. Alok, part of the legend of OH, so welcome. Niyati, Crompton, very interesting brand, legacy brand, and everything else. So a lot of future and the past. And Pulak, you come from a really interesting part of the industry in the country, but so far we thought not so involved in the OH space. So welcome, and we look forward to a very interesting one. So guys, infrastructure is something that's seriously booming in our country, right? Just a quick question, and since e4m is built on the roads of the country, you know, which country has the largest network of roads in the world? Anybody? Roads. Is possibly United States. And where does India rank? Actually now second, right? So for a country that's 1/4 the size of the United States, we're already the second largest country in terms of roads in the country, right? Which is possibly, you know, the root of this discussion, which is infrastructure. And of course, we have gone completely ballistic with building infrastructure across the cities and states. So Ashish, let's start with you. As I said, a lot of questions will come back to you. So the discussion points we have is how do you see this new infrastructure evolving in developing OH as a medium of impact?
I think it's going to play a large role. We've already seen some offshoots in terms of the ability to do much sharper targeting, do interesting work in terms of experience-led OH, or you know, even being able to interact with consumers.
However, hold it closer.
However, I still feel it's a long way to go. If you look at Classic in terms of what OH delivers, I still think today at scale it continues to deliver on visibility and brand. There have been a lot of experiments that one has taken up with this new infrastructure, with this new innovative OH pieces that are there, but we are yet to see scale on this. And I think the challenge for all of us is going to be to how do we scale up this to the extent that it makes a huge impact for me as a brand, and that's where the challenge will be.
Okay, so I have a question already for you, but yeah, I shall come back to you.
Yeah, sure.
Alok, so we discussed the shift from roadside hoardings to you know, the impactful high dwell ambient media. What's your perspective on that?
I think it's amazing if you look at the infrastructure growth that has happened in this country. It's not only about roads, it's also about the rails, it's also about the flights, the airports that have opened, the metro network that has been built up across, I think, more than 20 cities now. That I think 5 to 7 metros are already operational, and maybe in a couple of years we'll see around 20 cities with a metro network.
30.
30. So thanks for correcting me. And I think, see, as an outdoor media owner, it's one of the best times to be in the industry. Sure. Because with a regulated and a formal infrastructure comes formal out of home. Because all these authorities, they want good players to work with them if you look at metro only, if you look at the branding that has happened, the metro station branding which has happened all over India,
Sure.
today out of home is not only it's a small line in their P&L, it's a substantial part of their business plan, because even for Delhi Metro, out of home would be generating around 250 to 300 crores per annum revenue, which is huge. And Delhi Metro is one of the success Vande Bharat trains. I mean, today India has more than 150 Vande Bharat trains,
Sure.
and each train is contributing more than 1 to 1.5 crores per annum as a revenue from advertising for them.
Sure.
So if you look at the incremental opportunity,
Hmm.
it is too good.
Okay, so I'm just remembering. I mean, at my advanced age, I forget a lot of questions, but we have a bunch of follow-up questions. Niyati, I think I will ask you about the planners and what they think about out of home, and how does reach versus frequency impact your planning for out of home.
So I'm not going to answer from the planning perspective, but rather how we look at it from a brand perspective, right? So, as we plan investing in outdoor, and, he was rightly mentioning, it is actually moving to a very high attention medium. I mean, think about how many of us really engage with content on our phones, because you're just literally waiting for the skip button to get activated and skip off your ad. But when you are captive in an airport, you are unlikely to miss the stuff that's being projected around you. So it's really the high attention medium. So it's no longer just being looked at as an incremental to my mainline media plan, to start building frequency, but also get serious attention of people who are, like he said, traveling maybe at least 30 minutes in a metro. I don't think, when I was traveling today, very hard for me to miss Fevicol Marol station, right? It's something that gets stuck in your mind. So the kind of memorability that brands can build, with the fact that you're not really just there, engaging with the consumer for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, max 20 seconds, literally for 20 minutes or more, especially at instances like, your metros, airports, where
Sure.
the dwell times are really now moving up incrementally.
Sure.
So it's I think from a medium standpoint, really moving to, like he was mentioning, stuff that brands can get consumers engaged, get them to actually participate, look out for some high engagement, CTAs through stuff that happens on the billboard. So I think it's no longer a supplementary medium, but really a very active medium when it comes to planning.
Cool.
Can I just add
Yes, please.
quickly to what she was saying? Because it's very interesting, and there is some data that is emerging that I was hearing. Maybe not yet popularized so much, but in terms of there's information to tell us which hoarding at what height, at what angle is being seen far more from a commuter in the car perspective. And there is also data which says that since these are key routes, it is not only about the people in the cars or vehicles. There is an audience out there on the streets who's walking, who is also getting exposed to that. So it is no longer maybe clearly defined only as, hey, I want car owners to see my communication. It is also about people on the street, who these people are, and from standing on the street versus from sitting in the car, what exactly is visible, which hoarding is visible, with which cohort, gives us a lot more data and confidence to make it an integral part of our plan, like she said, rather than saying it's an addition to my core brand, architecture.
So actually, you preempted my question to Pulak. Again, what we'd like to really know is your experimentation with the out-of-home space. Where have you used the more innovative out-of-home spaces, and how has it impacted your brands?
Sure. First of all, thanks everyone for being so attentive after a lunch session. So out of home, I have been buying out of home since the last 21 years for the brands that I work for, right? And it has evolved to a very, very large extent. For us, out of home has been very complementary to the mainstay communication that we do across mediums, and it really helps you build that reach very fast, right? unlike a TV where you activate the plan to reach a optimum level of audience or be seen, it'll take you at least a week because the calls would be the spots should be logged and stuff like that. But out of home is like instant visibility. So from a reach perspective, the build up happens really fast. Now another interesting dimension which even Niyati and Ashish touched upon, right? Today the infrastructure led OH boom allows me to do precision targeting as well, right? So if I am looking at frequency building, it is the metros, uh, stations, and the trains and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how we've been experimenting with OH.
Cool. So, so you kind of again preempted one very interesting question, which is the ability for out of home to address specific audiences, targeted audiences. That's number one. The second thing really is the emergence of data on out of home, right? And now a lot of people have done a fair amount of work, including my company, of doing a lot of research on looking at out of home and telling you what kind of eyeballs, how many eyeballs, what time of the day, what time of the night. The one of my favorite billboards from my youth was, if you remember, in Calcutta, there was the Eastern Metropolitan Bypass. There's these huge billboards, right, which would run along the bypass for miles, literally. It seemed to be miles, correct? In my mind, that continues to be one of the first innovations. And as we talk about the extremely lengthening road system in our country, and the extremely developing, extremely quickly developing metro station, number of airports, are we looking at innovations that are coming up vis-a-vis the location at which the sites are placed? Ashish, I'll add one more detail to this. I mean, you run your bank, which is out-of-home billboard in itself, right? Everywhere you have a branch. How is that getting impacted by this development in infrastructure?
So, like I said earlier, I think scale is the issue. For a bank of my size, I think the audience that we have, the presence that we have across the country, if there are not going to be only 10 anamorphic hoardings across the country, there's a limitation to what I can do, right? So it is good to showcase, but unless it scales up to a certain level, it does not work. We do try and use data based on what exactly we're trying to do in terms of the main objective of a campaign. And if I may, this sort of we've started a franchise called Festive Treats, which comes in during the festival season, right? And we created it as a unique property of ours which runs for a month, whereas across the industry you see 5 days something comes and goes, right? Now there have been times when in these periods we have not used traditional medium like television or print, right? What we have done is, we know this is about shopping, this is about offers that are related to shopping because of access to my cards or to my banking products. uh, how can I reach out to these customers? I do very focused precision targeting across all the marketplaces and the key malls in the primary cities where I'm present.
Sure.
Gives me scale, gives me focused presence, and it has worked out very well. In the absence of traditional media, it has delivered me fantastic results in terms of the business outcomes. Right? I'm not only talking about eyeballs, I'm talking about the way the business has grown during this period. But the moment I look at innovation, I think the scale is where it stops there. So we do try for a very specific product, for a very specific niche audience. I might do use innovative sort of OH, uh, and it works. But the moment I think of scaling up, it stops there, right? So it's good for very specific small. And I think maybe one more way of looking at it is helping democratize large scale, large impact medium to a whole lot of marketers than it was, right?
Sure.
Because you do not need big budgets to do precision targeting for a precision segment that you as a company may be targeting. So I think it brings a lot more players into the industry, into the use of OH. But as far as large brands are concerned, I think scale is where there is a shortfall currently.
So democratization is very interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
I pretty much concur with him. So, in a very diverse category that we operate in selling residential and agriculture pumps. So, literally going deep in markets of Jharkhand, Bihar, doing outdoor activations in the form of wall paintings at scale, we've literally hit up our numbers in business. So I don't think it's about just doing that one innovative site and getting some PR mileage out of it. There is so much more, at being able to use inventory at scale and really driving up business numbers. And like, for him, maybe it's the metro cities, the tier one markets, it's working equally well even in the rural markets, where a pump buyer or a pump consumer is being targeted through a wall painting, for example, right? So
Sure.
I think there's a lot of new stuff that's happening in the outdoor space across different formats if we were to literally just look around.
So, audience, I have one announcement to make. This is a panel of mind readers. Every time I think of a question, they've already answered it. So that's a bit of a problem. But Niyati, I think just to kind of follow up on that question, and Pulak, you will also be able to kind of add to that. What I am looking for is an answer to, and Alok, I'll come to you last on this one question. Have the OH brands, and we're talking about OH brand owners, been able to capitalize on the opportunities that infrastructure is giving, and innovative opportunities, right? And can you think of examples of that? Now, for example, if I were to give an example, I saw this in the Netherlands, that if you go into the tube, they've used the opposite side, the opposite wall, for some really innovative advertising, right? And you kind of can't miss it because you're staring at the blank wall and stuff. So have we in India been able to capitalize on these opportunities?
So simple stuff like, I don't know how many of you would have traveled in the streets of Bombay. The BST fleet, for example, the AC buses, where in fact live in the season with branding that's happening on fans. Very good inventory. You get the entire wrap of the bus. You get branding behind literally every seat, and a person is going to be sitting there for at least 15 minutes until he gets off to the next station. So I think there have been sporadic buyers who've been sort of selling inventory in a very well packaged, complete way. Has it happened throughout at scale across states? May not be. But I'm hoping that the learnings cascade and, we see similar stuff happening maybe in the UP buses or in the Delhi metro, for example. But I see a lot of that happening in the Bombay AC fleet, for example.
Sure.
So I'll just draw a parallel example. If you travel through South Asia and Europe, those are the markets for spotting OH innovations. They're like brilliant. But yeah, India is catching up. For me, two things are important that my partners have helped deliver as well, right? So one is experience. That's what I, as a brand, would look for. Now that depends on category or your messaging as well, right? So infrastructure-led OH allows me that experience creating moment, right? So that's one. And secondly, as I mentioned earlier, it's also about precision targeting. So if am I looking at a premium audience, then yeah, airports have those kind of inventories.
Sure.
Right. So yeah.
Alok, sorry. From your perspective, what is the best innovation that you've done, which kind of really wants you to sit proudly and say, "This is what I've done"?
With respect to innovation, I think it's not only about if it has been done by us or if it has been done by anyone from the industry, but what I see is that all the infrastructure play that has come into outdoor, be it airports, be it metro stations, today all these in this infrastructure is being converted into an experiential zone. It's not only a plain static billboard which is there. Obviously, LEDs are there, but if you go to any airport today, you'll see so many experiential play by so many brands, which is taking care, and that's where innovation is, coming up big time. At the same time, if you go to any city which has a decent metro presence, there is just a melange of colors across those metro stations. And I mean, Delhi would have more than 100 plus brands across stations, which are, annual deals. Bombay would have around 20, 25 still, since metro is in its infancy. So for example, Fevicol, which ma'am mentioned, Mathoot Finance, if you look at it, it's present across India wherever metro stations are there. So that hyperlocal brand targeting from a marketeer's perspective is adding a lot of value to the out of home. I mean, I don't know if you would really like to call it an innovation as such, which is making news or which is, making news to win awards. But from a consumer's perspective, it actually is innovation, because rather than seeing those plain colors in an infra, you're actually looking at brand colors, which is adding a lot of value.
I'd want to add something for the audience and maybe wake them up also a bit. So innovation should not be for the sake of it, right? So I clearly remember this one example. I used to work for a bank earlier, and we were looking for ideas on how you could save more. And we had a real-time integration done where the user can actually SMS on a number, and that message, whatever he has SMSed, will be displayed on the billboard. It was monsoon in July in Bombay, and there was electric sparks flying all around. So we need to be practical also at times.
No, I completely agree with him. In fact, the innovation is not for what the medium can do, but I think what it can do for the brand. And for many brands, I don't think anamorphic makes sense at all. I can see a plane flying out of it, but what has a skincare brand to do with anamorphic, right? How does it work for me? And I think that's very important. Some very interesting examples, two, three come to my mind. But one is classic, timeless, and all of us will agree they still see it every time they travel to Pune, is the huge Jeep cutout, right? Innovation in the relevant place for the right audience makes a lot of sense, and every time you pass it, you do notice and you do have a positive rub off on you, right? You look at what one of the car brands, now I forget the name, did at the airport, where there's a conveyor belt, right? And they showed the back side of the car showing that, hey, this car has a lot of boot space. Very relevant. Amazing use of a new innovative OH property to where, and it makes sense for the brand as well, right?
Sure.
Again, I think the third example I have is the colors, and they had the entire conveyor belt have different color shades to show how many color options. Asian Paints, I think, did that, right? Relevant use makes a lot of sense. But just because, hey, there's something innovative out there, if my brand and what my story for the brand is does not fit the entire narrative, no point in doing it. So I think one needs to be wary of that, and this is not only from the brand side, but even from the people who are creating these spaces. They have to be mindful that they get it used in the right manner, for which then the scale up, the growth, and the relevance for all of us will increase. Otherwise, it's just innovation for the sake of innovation, and I don't think that has a good, strong, happy future.
So point
And
taken.
I think,
Sorry.
just building on to him, he mentioned a brand that comes at the top of your mind every time you think outdoor is Amul. They've been so contextual. You can't name an event, that has happened in recency and Amul won't have a billboard, right? So it's not just doing fancy stuff on an outboard, but maybe just getting the right message that, ticks with your audience. So I think we really need to be stepping back and taking a look that what is it going to do for my brand? Is it just going to get me that additional PR mileage? Is it really going to be contextual to the need of my consumer? Or, is it really making sense in my overall brand journey from the messaging standpoint? Otherwise, we don't do it.
Obviously 100% right, and what's relevant for the brand is most important, etc., etc. But given the fact that we are in an OH conference, the question that we are trying to ask ourselves, and I'm a part of that industry, is are we doing enough to create opportunities for brand heads like you to utilize them? See, it again, we will speak about the public private partnership. This is the agency client partnership, right? If I don't get an option for you, or if I don't get 10 options for you, how will you choose one or two out of this 10?
The
Correct?
answer is a straight yes. I think that is why, and she said so some time back, that the outdoor has moved from a support extension medium in my plan to becoming a core part of the plan, right?
Sure.
And that itself is, I think, being driven by the innovation, the infrastructure development, availability of so many more spaces, and availability of so much more new ways of using this medium, which takes it beyond being just a passive visibility medium, to saying there can be interactions, there can be engagement. I think in itself is driving usage definitely.
And I think the other interesting facet that's also opening up, and I think you attributed to that a while ago, it's about also being able to get the right system working together. So, for example, if I know that these are going to be my clusters where I'm activating my outdoor, is my digital targeting, building frequency, showing creatives to the same audience that's going to move into those clusters? So, am I literally trying to get my consumer not just through outdoor, but through the digital signals, possibly getting inputs from where they live, what localities? So it has to be all comprehensive. It's no longer one medium in isolation. And if the agency partners help us build that robustness, then definitely it's, something that we're all excited to partner for.
Incidentally, Laksh offers that service now. Sorry, not selling it, but please, Pulak, you're
So
saying.
I think with programmatic coming in, a lot of this will be possible. However, my expectation is we still not. So from a measurability perspective, make it more measurable for brands. Right? Uh, Mumbai, of course, is a different scenario. But if I was to invest in a place like Guwahati, I need to I need to be sure that it is monitored well and measured well. So those things are still not happening in tier 2, tier 3 kind of a place.
That's exactly, so that's what I was building up to. That look, the metros are fairly saturated, and which brings back to the one point we've not discussed. There are some people who believe even now that outdoor is not good for a city, and therefore this public-private partnerships were created to ensure that when we put up a billboard, we also help in beautifying the city. Your comments on that, please. Is this somebody's figment of imagination, or is it something real?
So again, I'll give the example of maybe something that happened last year in Bombay, right? There was a episode where there was an outdoor accident and there was loss of life that happened. So I think it's also about being conscious. We can't have stuff being splattered on literally every building surface, on everywhere you look at the skyline. So it has to be well thought of. You literally don't want brands to be investing in inventory that's just available for the sake of it. But the onus lies on the suppliers as well, right? About ensuring that there are right standards, that there is the right overall safety standards that are also being met, because brands are going to keep asking for more, right? It's no longer 400 square feet, 1600 square feet, but what is that doing to that area? What is that doing to the city? So I think there is equal onus on both brand and suppliers in making sure that there are hygiene protocols being met.
And I think brands are increasingly becoming more conscious and aware of such stuff. So, for example, a lot of brands have moved to the eco-solvent variant of printing, right, rather than the regular flex and things like that. So, yeah, there has to be that kind of accountability.
In fact, I think there are choices that brands are making also in terms of which hoardings are lit by solar versus which are run by electricity. And some of us are taking conscious calls saying wherever available, I would rather go with a solar paneled outdoor space, right?
So out of home will always be a PPP play. I mean, we are not a media industry. We are an infrastructure. We are a part of infrastructure growth. So, and if the government wants a good infrastructure growth, it has to tie up with private players to build that. If you look at Swachh Bharat mission also, when it started, I mean, across India, a lot of public utilities were built by out-of-home players or given to out-of-home players to manage, to make it a revenue surplus model, which is not possible for any other media. So it can only be a figment of imagination for a city to exist without out of home. A proper out of home actually adds a lot of vibrancy to the city. If you look at the street furniture.
Thank you. Say that again. Say that again.
A proper, well laid out of home plan actually adds a lot of vibrancy to the city. If you look at the bus shelters, if you look at the public utilities which are created, I don't think so any other media can match that.
Times Square is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, Times Square, Tokyo.
For years, we have seen a very standard set of lit
Yeah, Times Square, Piccadilly
need.
Circus, Tokyo, what district? I keep forgetting the name.
Yeah, but at the same time, I do feel that there is some spaces which are intrusive, and while I think there is no black or white, I think it can be done in a much smarter way, where you see that this may not have an impact on, say, for example, the simplest one is driving, and it distracts me with driving. And the moment you've got so many of these LED hoardings with moving content, right? And then when I'm driving, it tends to distract you. The colors are bright, it's moving, and maybe then there are some conscious calls one might need to take, saying that, hey, if this seems like a spot where it will cause more hazard than delivering a message, we should take calls on that. And I, as a brand, would also love to then decide that in spite of this giving me so many eyeballs, maybe it is not the right fit and I don't want to be present here, right? And with the infrastructure as well as the innovation you're talking about, there are so many more interesting spaces where there's a lot of dwell time. Metros is one of them, airports is another one, right? Why not use more of that to ensure that there's not much that the audience is doing, and hence it's a much better way, because it also gives me better engagement, right? I know with a lot of data how many times when you're speeding on the road, on the highway, how many times are you able to really look at what message is there, right? Well, I notice something, I see something, but does it register?
See what you mentioned. I mean, again, very proudly, I'll say that the Jeep billboard is a Lux property that we built for Jeep for now 8 years, right? In fact, we've done a very interesting study on that billboard uh, 4 or 5 years ago, because the question was, does it make sense to have that billboard running for now 8 years, right? So we actually did a consumer survey. Yati, you said, and therefore my next question is about cross-media pollination. The feedback from people on the Mumbai-Pune highway was overwhelming. So it's also become a bit of a landmark, right? So, and I think that's a part of the infrastructural development, right? That, as you said, cities become nicer, billboards become milestones, they become landmarks, and therefore we are adding a lot of vibrance to the area around us. A little bit about airports, ladies and gentlemen. Have we actually been able to utilize the opportunity that airports offer in a significant way as an industry?
So again, specific use case, right? We have credit cards which are supposed to be good for international travel,
Right.
right? Or domestic travel or air flight bookings. It gives a very good rewards program on that. Best places to me for me to be in. So when I have my diners franchise where I'm the only sole partner with them in India,
Yeah.
I think whenever we sort of want to communicate, airports is the first port of call for us. And right audience, right fit, right product fit works best. So definitely the is as part, and it's worked for us. There's no doubt about that.
And you think that will work across airports, not just
Yes.
Delhi, Mumbai?
Yes, it will work across airports depending if that the audience exists for me, right? So if I'm talking of a domestic travel card, yes, I will take it across the country, across airports. If it is more to do with international benefits, then wherever the international traffic is, and if that means it is Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, so be it. So wherever the audience is, as long as my audience is there, it makes sense.
Yeah, so for us, we're on an active journey where we're looking to literally reach out to the premium cohorts, right? Because home decor, appliances in the home have become so integral now to the way that people spend their time. So airports have been great for us as a brand as well. And going deep in cities like Vizag, Vijayawada, so it's no longer limited to the Delhi, Bombay, Chennai airports anymore. So when we're actually making our plans, we literally go to even tier 2 tier 3 cities, and there is very good airport inventory available. So I think when you're clear in terms of the fact that you're this is the consumer cohort you want to target, and what are their habits, where are they traveling, everyone knows India is going to be having, I think, close to about 400 450 million passengers taking flights. So there is no better inventory than the airport inventory to target your consumers.
Yeah, but only one issue is it's way too expensive. Yeah, or should do something about it.
It's the size of the
Way too
pockets, right? It's the size of the pockets that come to the airport.
So that's what I also have a problem with. That airport, it is assumed that only the premium clientele would go to the airport. I mean, today airports are just. I mean, if you go to a Delhi airport, it's like a railway station only. I mean, considering the footfall that Delhi airport has, you're literally just, an aam aadmi going through the airport. Now it is up to media owner or whoever the airport has, along with the authorities, to devise some low-cost advertising solutions also. Because I recall in the past there were opportunities like those, flower pots. They used to be used for advertising, or small panels on the side. But those opportunities have vanished, which means that airports today are now only restricted to a bigger set of clients who have deep pockets. Airport business in itself can be doubled if the authorities sit along with the media owners and decide more clientele to become a part of it.
True, then I will go there for much more than the premium credit cards, if that happens.
I think for me, like Ashish said, it's specific use cases. So the airport does offer multiple options, not just display options. You have activation options as well, and depending on your cause, you can do a lot with the airport. For example, I've seen a lot of brand doing branding in the garden, the airport garden, right? So there can be such integrations that can be. So net airport offers a lot of such opportunities. But again, to what Alok said, I think different players who've been involved in the airport selling space, right? They use the airport inventory differently. There should be some amount of standardization that has to happen, because otherwise it's too overwhelming to see brands all over the airport, right? So
Well, we seem to be out of time. So, how many people from the brand side of business in the audience today, approximately? A raise of hands, please. Wonderful. So, for the brand side, just want to kind of say that this is a very hard-working industry. And we work very, very, very hard to give you a bunch of opportunities that could actually enhance the pull of your brand. For my co-industry people, we have done a lot of work, right, in the last few years. I mean, for example, I will go back to my days of 25 years ago as a young brand manager. And I had asked my then agency, which is my current employer, to say, listen, I want to take all the billboards on one crossroads. He said, kya karo sir, bahut mehanga ho jayega. Now, all the big brands actually now do that, right? The cluster billboard is now a part of reality. So yes, we have to keep trying, we have to keep working hard to give the best possible solutions, given the fact that this country of ours is investing. You have anybody wants to guess how much money we're investing in infrastructure development? थोड़ा सा और I mean the published number मैं सरकारी बता रहा हूँ some 13 lakh crores or whatever the published number, right? So it's a lot of money going in, and I think it's up to us to latch on to the opportunities. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Alok. Thank you, Niyati. Thank you, Pulak. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much to all our panelists. May we please request you to stay with us, but do join us at the center of the stage. Allow us an opportunity to welcome Atul Lamani, the Senior Sales Director West of Digitool, to please join us on stage and help us in giving a token of appreciation to all our speakers. Please do join me in giving Atul a big, big round of applause. Atul, if I may request you to first give it to Ashish. Ashish, thank you so much. EVP and Head Brand Marketing Communications, HDFC Bank. Thank you so much, Alok. Director, Graphisads Limited, Niyati. GM Marketing, Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals, Pulak. Head Corporate Brand Marketing, Sun Pharma, and our moderator, ladies and gentlemen, Manas, CEO, Laksh Digital Labs, and of course, Laksh Media Limited, Digital Officer of the same. Can we please request all of you to step forward and get us in one frame, and may I encourage, yes, of course, with our presenter as well. Please do join me in giving them a big, big round of applause. It's always great to hear from our leaders on stage as they share their expertise, and now it is time for us To shift the gear and enter into another industry altogether, let's talk about OOH in real estate marketing mix. Now, many a times when we're probably driving or we're in a cab or an auto rickshaw, we always see these ads with the next real estate project coming up, right? But let's hear from the horse's mouth as to what and how they think on the placement strategies, or be it what they feel is the scope of taking OH ahead, and what are their core preferences, because that's truly going to help everybody in the room to strategize for real estate clientele. With that being said, of course, we are extremely elated that we do have somebody from in the moderation from Realty Plus. Now, Realty Plus is, of course, an arm of Exchange for Media. They've been doing some incredible events, and they also happen to complete 22 years. That's what Anurag Batra, Dr. Anurag Batra highlighted of the number of years they've completed. And today we have the editor of Realty Plus who's going to be curating this conversation. So on that front, please join me in welcoming, and it's such an honor having our speaker, Mr. Sarthak Seth, Senior VP and Chief Sales and Marketing Officer of Tata Realty. Please give him a big, big round of applause. Tata Realty, of course, doing some incredible projects, and we'd love to hear from him. And curating and moderating this conversation is Sapna Srivastava, Editor, Realty Plus, Exchange for Media. Please give Sapna a warm round of applause as we welcome her. And with that, Sapna, over to you to take forward the conversation.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to be here. And when it comes to real estate marketing, I have known Sarthak for so many years. He's the authority when it comes to marketing of real estate, and it's such a pleasure to be talking to him about real estate marketing. Now, I was listening to the previous set of speakers, and they were talking about OOH in various other verticals, FMCG, banking, retail. One question that came to my mind is that is OOH different for real estate? Is it so?
Oh, well, firstly, thanks, Sapna, and thank you everyone for having me over here. And I am not the authority, so let me just be humble on that front first. Okay, talking about that, whether out of home is different for real estate, so I can say it is yes and it is no. Firstly, why a yes and why a no? So if I have to say, we had been talking about out of home for decades now, and I think for me within the industry, it's real estate is about 7 odd years. Apart plus prior to that, I worked with FMCD for good 13-14 years. So real out of home has always been looked in terms of looking from awareness perspective. Those were the initial days, and even today also, like most of you will say that okay, awareness, I think first thing is out of home. But I think how out of home has really progressed over these years. So it is beyond awareness, and especially when it comes to real estate, I would say it is really beyond awareness, because I think even through out of home, because real estate as an industry actually works pretty much from a micro market perspective. So when I say micro market, whatever project we do, uh, believe me, almost 60 to 70% of the project normally gets sold within 5 to 7 kilometers radius. So that actually becomes the micro market for us. And so you have to really create your dominance over there. But it's not just only from awareness perspective, because once you are bringing a project, it is unlike a FMCG or a FMCD that you are just going to be doing 21 days campaigns or a 45 days campaigns and you're out of it. Yes, in terms of, I would say, velocity standpoint, in terms of showcasing ourselves, initially we might take up more number of out-of-home sites, but somewhere we are actually going to restrict those number of sites and say that, okay, these are going to be my landmark, earmark sites, which I'm going to be continuing over the life cycle of the project as well. So when I say life cycle of a project, the life cycle of project is going to be good 3 to 4 years period. So just imagine you just cannot have only one particular, I would say, content being published over there. So now it varies from a real, in the real estate, while I'm launching, my communication is going to be very different. Even at a pre-launch, it's going to be different. Launching it is going to be different. When I'm doing a sustenance, it is going to be different. So just imagine the same consumer who is traveling in that particular micro market over 2 months, 3 months, 6 months to a year, how he's actually going to be seeing my project. So a lot of times you will see people actually grow with the same out of home, seeing that okay, oh, इस brand ने ये कर दिया, अच्छा इनका नया tower आ गया, अच्छा इनका ये 2080 का plan आ गया. So all these things. So from that perspective, I think real estate, in case of real estate, it also builds in a lot of credibility. It is all about creating that trust. It is all about you grow with the brand over there, you go with the product over there. From a out of home perspective, real estate, like, so I think this is one of the biggest things you will see.
I think the biggest difference is that for real estate, it's a long term. It's not a short term promotion. It's long term, sometimes extending to 3-4 years, and probably the the consumers or the people around growing with that.
No,
The
I can
storytelling
actually
of
give you an
that.
example. Like Manas was talking about, I think EM bypass, right?
Hmm.
Now EM bypass, I think we have the most iconic site for the last 5 years. We launched a project. It is one of our flagship projects called 88 East, and people actually know our project because of EM bypass out of home that we have put in, because they see okay, अच्छा इस पे ये change हो गया है, इस पे ऐसा हो गया है. So and we have just kept it. Obviously, you have to keep on changing your communication from every like 45 days to a 1 month period, because every quarter you're going to be you're going to be having something new. So that is there. But like he said, so it's like it's an iconic site. We identify and we say that okay, yes, we have to be there.
Yeah, and for long term. Yeah. Another thing a lot of speakers spoke about is technology. How OH is becoming more DOOH now, PDOH, programmatic. Uh, for real estate, how have you seen out of home evolving? Probably, if you look back last 5 years, and now it has become more experience led, like you said. The content keeps changing. People keep identifying with that. Is it become more experience led? It become more tech savvy?
Okay, so I would say first of all, real estate, it's like a very physical business, if you'll ask me. I think जब भी हम कोई property लेने जाते हैं, the first thing is we just want to go and actually know ये कौन सा site है, कहाँ पे क्या करने वाला है developer. So everybody whosoever wants to book, they first wants to come over the site. Now, when I take a step back, probably like from a decade from here, 2015, 2016 was something when digital really started to pick up, and performance marketing and everything. And especially post COVID, what happened in case of real estate was the technology adoption became very, very fast. Till that time, technology adoption was not so much there. So now it is actually more of a phygital business for us also, because somewhere I think digital really plays a very, very important role. And now when you're talking from a digital integration perspective, when it comes to out of home, which is like, I would say IOOH, which is like, that's the mainstream, because whether it is programmatic, whether it is digital, everything comes under IOOH. So in our case also, it really plays a very important role, because today we know that okay, a certain audience is going through one of my sites or one of my hoardings, I would say. I get a certain data from there in terms of understanding that okay, what sort of consumers are passing through. You are anyways getting some of the IP datas. You are able to retarget that particular audience. Somewhere it is also helping in terms of increasing our, I would say, the site visits. So definitely out of home really, with that entire thing of integrating digital, it
QR
really
codes and
helps us.
geotagging. Yeah.
So this is one side. Another is in terms of how best you can actually put out your creative. Now we have been talking anamorphic. We actually did an anamorphic in Calcutta only. I think probably the first time a real estate player actually did that. And believe me, because we just had a single tower over there, very premium, the way it really came out was amazing. And so I would say definitely that also gives you an edge, because in our case I can say that okay, you can actually showcase your project over there, because still we have got so many renders and everything. We can actually do those renders. It really comes out to life.
Okay, so over past few years, it has evolved, it has become more digital, it has become more measurable
Oh, yes.
now, and yes, creativity, as you mentioned. For, if when we talk about measurable, what would be your suggestions, top 3 strategies to get the best ROI from your OH?
I'm again going to say it's like when it comes to OH or anything, I think the most important aspect is common sense. And with the OH, the biggest common sense is less is more, which is, I would say, in our terms, I can say less is luxury. So you have to be like, your caption should not be more than 4 to 5 words, because it just cannot be you really print out a catalog over there. So I think a lot of times people actually miss that. What they do is, अरे ये भी है ये भी है ये भी है. What exactly are we doing, guys? It's just, I am just going to get that 5 second attention, right? So in those 5 seconds, how much somebody can read, that's the key for doing any OH. So I think the most important thing is your messaging has to be really very clear.
Keep it short and simple.
The extent the shortest possible, I can say. If I can say just one word and people can understand, I would just go with that one word.
Okay, fantastic. So that's the tip from Sarthak. If you want to catch the attention in the cluttered, the digital era, keep it simple, keep it short. Shorter the better if your message can go across. Now for Tata Realty, what is your approach? What does high impact OOH branding for Tata Realty is? Where it has.
Okay, I think amalgamation of whatever I have said till now, the most important thing is you really need to find out the locations. You really need to be like very
So
specific.
firstly, the location.
Yeah, you have to really shortlist, and you have to say that, okay, I want to be here for a long-term perspective, because that is how you are able to create a certain impact. And because I would say in case of real estate, the OH also drives the intent. So if I am there for a longer period of time, somewhere I'm also going to entice the customer to actually come and check out my project also. So that becomes one part. Another is, I said, the messaging itself. That becomes the key, because what exactly you want to put out, and the messaging has to change really over a period of time. You just cannot have only one messaging throughout good 3 4 5 months or something of that sort, because after 21 days everybody says it actually becomes a blind spot. So 21 can just get extended up to 30, but not beyond that. The only thing is, I would say somewhere a lot of times what happens with the brand managers is they become too excited. Suddenly everything changes in the creative, and then you are not able to even relate ये same project का creative भी था क्या. So I think being into that zone, you have to change your messaging also. That is another important part. And I would say from a measurability perspective that yes, from Tata Realty perspective, whenever we are doing our campaigns, definitely out of, if I'm going to have 10 to 12 sites in a particular location, at least 3 or 4 we are going to have IOH integrated into that particular thing, so that we know that what exactly is the traffic going through, how we can really retarget those audiences, and then we really keep on having a lot of information exchange along with our agencies and say that, okay, this particular location is not working, can we really change it? So you have to be adapted, you have to be agile also.
Right. So location, your messaging, and then keeping the messaging consistent, it should not completely vary, and then keeping it measurable.
Yes.
Is something what what Tata Realty is doing. Now, if I have to ask you in terms of future trends, what are you saying? How, we've seen the evolution till now. In next 3 to 5 years, any 3 future trends? 3 is my lucky number, so I'm
Okay.
again and again asking you 3. So
Okay, so when you say future trends, I think probably we can see further how this entire IOH also evolves over a period of time in terms of what all data, how you're able to dissect the data, or what sort of dashboards your agency can actually provide you. That is something I am really looking forward to, one. Secondly, we had been talking about anamorphic, because while some brands can say that, okay, it is not so relevant for a product per se, but I would say going forward in the future, we are just going to be seeing it more and more, because how the technology itself is evolving. It is all about bringing your product to life, come to life, I would say that. So I think these aspects really do matter. And what else when you talk from a futuristic perspective? I think if you really want to ask me, I think sustainability can be another aspect also. Like, can we really have green out of home boards, which is like probably powered by only solar panel or something in Delhi? Probably I can give this task to Manas and say, Manas, can you really do one billboard for me which really absorbs the smog over there or reduces like from the PM 2.5 perspective, can we really have some of those things? But that is like really very futuristic. But this is like one of my wish list. And sustainability is going to be a big play, and it is going to be there into everything, all our aspects of life. So why not in this?
Okay, fantastic. Let me ask my audience, how many of you saw a real estate project hoarding on your way here? How many of you, at least one? How many of Oh, me too. Yeah. So OOH is alive and kicking, and as Sarthak said, there are new trends which are going to come, and I think it is going to become more interactive, more sustainable, as we all have to. Now, I have some rapid fire questions for you to see how quickly you answer them. One city where you think OOH for real estate works the best.
I would say we are sitting in Mumbai. Probably that's one of the best examples because
Okay.
I can't like I wished because I'm a Delhi guy, but I wish I would have said Delhi. But the amount of OH what you have over here is like
Okay, so Mumbai it
yeah.
is. And billboards or digital screens?
For me, both probably billboards. I would say more from a brand perspective. I would still go with that billboard, but from a conversions perspective and everything, probably it can be digital.
Okay. My next question was on that only. OH for branding or OH for lead generation?
I've already answered that. So
So digital for lead generation and the traditional
yeah,
hoardings for
any day because
branding.
still the way you can actually build your brand through OOH is still you can really do it.
Okay. One OH campaign that you wished you had done. You're really impressed about with.
I myself have done a lot of the campaigns and but yeah, one campaign which really stands out, though I haven't seen it personally, was and most one of the most spoken about was the Nike Air Max OH, which they actually did a 3D one in Tokyo in on what I think Shijuku, because I used to travel quite a lot because of my previous organization, so I know the place. I think that was one of those campaigns which really stood out, really got huge eyeballs, and it was one of those things which I think if we can really do those in India also,
Yeah.
and people are trying it out now.
Yeah, it was ahead of curve also,
Yes.
and quite innovative. One word that you would like to say for the future of OOH in real estate.
One word. I think
You have already given us 3, 4 in the future trends, but
I think it OH for me it has to be still immersive. Right. So definitely we have spoken about intelligent. We have spoken about a lot of other things, but immersive is one word which is really the key for out of home, because how it can really intrigue its viewers, that really becomes the key.
okay. So in future, OOH, at least in real estate, is going to become even more immersive. What it is as of now.
Yeah, I think it's all about see in case of real estate, believe me, through OOH we do the storytelling. When I'm telling you that okay, we are there on a specific site for 3 years, 4 years. So just imagine I'm really doing my entire storytelling on that particular creative or on that particular out of home. So it is already immersive, and with digital coming into the picture, there's a lot of measurability which I can say comes alive now.
Right. Fantastic. I think, very good thinking, for the rapid fire. What my takeaways from this conversation is that while for other segments, OH is more about mass awareness, promotion, for real estate is about being powerful brand, anchor to build credibility, and especially because it's not impulse buy, it is a high capital product, and as Sarthak said, rather than visibility and scale, it is now going to be more about strategy, context, and integration. Thank you so much, Sarthak, for giving us that clarity on how OOH works in real estate marketing mix, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Sapna. Thank you, everybody, for having me over here. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any questions, probably?
Thank you so much. And Sarthak, always such an honor having you on board and of course hearing from you. And as Sapna rightly said that about your relationship you guys share because of Realty Plus. Thank you for sharing the stage and giving us your key perspective. Towards the end, we just request Sapna to give a token of appreciation to our speaker. But for that, may I request all our audience members, please give them a big, big round of applause. We just request both of you to join us in the center of the stage. And it's so great to hear from the real estate domain as to how do they focus on OOH, what are their key requirements, what is the future. And on the other side, let's get set for our next and upcoming panel discussion. Well, just by show of hands, just would like to ask all of you, how many of you have attended the e4m OH conference before? Or is this the first time? If it's before, like Mr. Balsara, is it the first time? I'm just joking. You're the reason we're all always excited to host it. All right, who've done it before? Okay. And who are the ones who are attending it for the first time today? Wow, so that's almost 80% of you. That's great to know. We at Exchange for Media always believe in keeping the social media engagements high. I'm also going to take the liberty shortly, not right now, but shortly to understand how many of you have done the hashtag on social media. So E4M OH conference as one word. If you've got any key insights, please feel free to do so. I'm also going to take the opportunity of reading out some of the quotes which you all are going to be hashtagging. So I'm going to give you some time. We're just going to remind you on the lucky draw as well. Our team is going to be working on the same and giving those chits to you shortly so that you can all write. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get set for our upcoming conversation. Every city has a language of its own, not just in words, but its space, culture, and moods. The way Mumbai rushes, the way Delhi reacts, or the way Bangalore pauses. Each one speaks differently. And today, out-of-home advertising is learning to speak that language. Not louder, but smarter. Not everywhere, but exactly where it matters. So let's now segue into our conversation, speaking the city's language, localization in modern OOH. We're going to request the team to now display the creative on the screen, and may I urge and request our speakers to please sit as per the creative. Can we have the creative on the screen? Perfect. Thank you so much. May I take the opportunity of first inviting on stage our first speaker, Amit Bhojani, General Manager, Marketing and Brand Experience, Oberoi Realty. I think your applause can be much better. Come on, Mumbai. Thank you so much. May I also take the opportunity of welcoming Rajiv Das, the Head of Department Sales and Marketing, Adani Realty. Piyush Sethia, Marketing Head, Attenberg. Prateek Ghate, the General Manager, Media and Events, Bajaj Auto. Himanshu Pandey, founder and CEO, Segmento. And moderating it, we couldn't have had anyone better than our current session chair who's going to curate this conversation. Please join me in welcoming Jayesh Yagnik, Chief Executive Officer, MOMS Outdoor Media Solutions. And trust me, getting all these speakers in one platform today, I think that deserves a big, big round of applause. Come on. We're going to learn so much from all of them. And with that, Jayesh, I'd like to leave it in your able hands to take it forward. Over to you.
Thank you so very much. Okay, it's not yet 4, so good afternoon, everyone. I was wondering between good afternoon and good evening, mujhe kya bolna hai, but yeah, we are right on time, I guess. So we are here to, speak about this wonderful topic, which says localization in this modern out of home. And when we talk about this topic, I think when we say out of home as a media, it's all about localization. Log bolte out of home is used for hyperlocal, out of home is used for the last mile approach, out of home is used for experiential. So, there is a lot to speak when we talk about localization in out of home. But luckily we have this esteemed panel here today, and I've got an opportunity to discuss few of the points with the legend in their respective field. So what I wanted to start with, gentlemen, here is in a market as diverse as India, with a lot of culture nuances what we have, what does localization in OOH truly mean? What I mean by this is only about a language. When typically an OOH happens and when you talk about localization, it is about HSM one language, southern markets for different language. Is it more to do with culture? It is more to do with context? Or is it actually something deeper? So this is the kind of thought starter what I wanted to, bring before we get into an actual discussion that how localization works in a modern out-of-home industry. Let me begin with you, Piyush. So just continuing from what I said is localization often misunderstood as translating copy into a regional languages is what typically localization people say that. According to you, what are the other cultural cues a brand often grabs, or I would say misses?
Thank you. I think the translation part is almost a given. I think we need not mention that, but I think one of the things is a lot of people stop at translation. Two things that you mentioned, which is one is about the context, which I think changes as we go along in the country. And we can take off any example. I now work in the industry of appliances. The heat pattern across the country changes. There's humid heat in different parts of the country. There is dry heat in different parts of the country. The same context cannot work in that. There is obviously cultural nuances of the place that you want to talk to. All creatives, the more connect that the creative has, it obviously leaves a lot more impact. So obviously a little bit of cultural nuance. The third thing is also the context of where the outdoor is being done. So if it is being done in a place where people are going to have a little bit of opportunity, how much of content that you want to put out in terms of copy, how much engagement you want to do, versus if it is going to be done where people are zipping past, then you just want to maybe land the headline. So I think both of those things, all of these things will matter. Localization is not just about the place, but also where the consumer or where the audience is standing, how much attention they will be able to pay. I think we have to look at all of this when we design it, and that is when I think the true localization can happen.
So what is the kind of time span one would have if it is at the signal or if it is just fast moving traffic versus
at a signal, it will be different. Say in a metro station where the commuter is going to be spending 5 minutes waiting for the train, there you can have a very different kind of engagement. The same copy and the same creative is not going to work in a metro station to past the highway and at the signal. All three are like very different levels of time spent, and how you can engage and what level of message depth you can get to. So I think that itself changes.
Sure, Rajiv.
If I can, if I can add, I think the creative part of it. I think we are from real estate. One thing is clear is that when you do outdoor, it is about target segments. I think the one flexibility that outdoor has given us is that depending upon the segment, like say if my project is affordable or a premium or a luxury, you can change the creatives. Within Bombay, within Western markets, you can have multiple creatives which defines different imagery. I think it is the only medium which gives you the opportunity that you play around with the creatives at the same time and you target different segments. So your communication in terms of the objective is same, but you are communicating a different product with different imagery with a different creative. I think that adds a lot of value to outdoor. And today, if you see with the digital medium coming to the play, I think that creates that experience. I think which was missing earlier. I think today in a real estate, and everybody is looking for a video, and where the attention span is coming down. I think it's all about creating that 10-seconder. How interestingly one can create that 10-seconder so that you communicate about the product and the proposition in an interesting way. So I think digital has given us a lot of
Flexibility,
play to make sure that you are not only putting a static image along with the static hoardings, you are taking the creatives in a digital space that you can talk about the experience. I think today products have been sold through experience, and that 10-second that it's not about searching, it's swiping that people are saving. I think that is what is coming out.
Absolutely right. Well, Rajiv, then that drives me to the next question. Well, I'll start with you. According to you, how can creative teams authentically reflect the culture nuance while avoiding a stereotype? It is not typical Calcutta mein, so you have a Durga Puja time, so have this, or something else, and then do this. What kind of a liberty, especially you, would like to give to a creative agency by not becoming a stereotype and come up with a still cultural diversified campaign?
See, I think today big brands are not talking about the product, it's talking about the experience. I think that is a big shift that is happening in most of the categories, at least in a big ticket purchase. I think we are going beyond the product. And once you go beyond the product, it's that imagination comes to play, and the creative team and the creative agency are up to it. That how I can put a experience of the product in a creative mindset. I think that is happening with the big brands. I think I'm sure that all big ticket categories are right now all about experience and how you're giving that at the site or at the product level or at the touch point level. Second thing is that you have to see creative in a different way when it comes to outdoor, purely because it is a ATL medium where it's not only talks to the customer or the prospects. I think in different segments, it's talk to your stakeholders. That can be a distributor, that can be a stockist, or can be a retailer. I think that is where the entire ambience is getting created when you put it outdoor. It used to be print in a couple of years back that you want a conversation to happen, you give a print ad. But I think that is getting replaced. As I'm sure about my category at least, it's getting replaced with the outdoor to large extent. You want a conversation, whether it's a product or experience or a service related, get into outdoor. I think that is where is the big shift that is happening.
No, that says a lot, sir, and that is why both Amit and you, being the number one category in out of home today, real estate is the number one category which uses this media the most. So
I think the surrounding creation. I think if something is given to you as a ATL benchmark and you get that ROI, and at the end of the day, being a marketer, you will look for the ROI. The surrounding creation, I think today is done through outdoor to a large extent. Then your performance marketing and branding is done through digital marketing, but it starts with outdoor.
Sure.
Jayesh, if I may so add.
Yeah, please.
I think, to be very frank, you cannot avoid a creative stereotype in today's age. What matters practically is how pure you are in terms of your communication. I come from a two-wheeler category, and it's a far more involved category. It's a very high ticket price product. Our consumers can make it out that which creative is smart, which is a fake one, right? So especially if the message is not cutting past through, he will not understand. What is important from us as a stakeholder is how are we making it contextual to the place where that consumer is. And for example, again, I think we were talking about some busy signals and junctions. If those junctions and the same brand can translate that creative contextual to that message, I think it will cut past. So it's completely up to creative agency and us as a brand managers
Right.
to ensure that message is relevant.
Sure, sure. Well, Pratik, the next question I'll come on to you only, that we have spoken enough about the creative, and when it comes to localization, we think always the creative first thing. But let me ask you that how different media formats contribute to from a planning or a selection point of view, from a localization point of view, how important are the media formats or a placement or an impact?
Uh, I think if creative makes a brand relevant, media makes the brand believable, is what I think so. Because, especially again, I'm referring to our category. Till the time I don't see or I don't show a brand or a bike in this biggest, beautiful form, the consumer will not start, thinking about that particular bike. So, in the past, we have done some executions where, if you remember Selection Junction in Bandra, that's one of the best cluster you can plan on. We had one category launch where for a 250cc segment of motorcycles, we in fact used it in the most effective way. Deepa from our Madison team helped us out to create the creatives on its own. And then similar thing right now in Pune, there is a right in the heart of the city, there is an RTO junction. It's a 4,000 square feet place. Now that's the place where probably lakhs of consumers are riding through. The message which I'm giving there is primarily around the savings which they can derive. So again, coming back to the point, I think media is relevant, and placing it at a right time and a right moment is what going to help us cut across.
So I think Jayesh, I'll cover these some sort of a approach from a data technology partner. What we see is creative is 30% and context is 70%, because we've been operating into data tech space. What we primarily know is the more you know about the pin code, the more you know about the locality, the more you know about the traffic patterns, the dwell time, what we are talking about, how much time you spend on a signal. I think it helps you to shortlist screens much more faster, and obviously also able to understand their work location, their home location. So this will obviously help you plan the further set of campaigns coming in. So I think it's 30% creative and 70% context, as far as my point of view.
Sure, sure, absolutely. Well, let me move on to you, Amit. In real estate, where the micro location is often the biggest differentiator. It's all about hyper local, 2 kilometer, 4 kilometer periphery in a particular project is what real estate clients typically eyes into. Is OH localization the most effective way to sell a neighborhood story? Or it is just a hygiene factor to stay that, yeah, this is the project, this is the locality, and let's have some OH around?
See, Oberoi Realty is moving completely into ultra luxury space. We are already into luxury products, and moving into ultra luxury space, it's all about brand marketing for us. Yes, as Rajiv mentioned, ROI is important, but brand marketing is the key for us. We also consider into factors, where are our customers coming from, and social media, digital helps us in that. We understand the location, where are the customers coming in, where are the bookings coming from, where are the inquiries coming from. Say for an example, micro market like Thane, the scope is huge. You can go to the outskirts of Thane, you can go towards the western side, you have customers coming in from the central side. Our messaging and product is the hero. We are not putting up too much tactical ads. That's the thing we follow. It's only the product that's the king, and brand marketing. We are in fact having the same communication in all the hoardings. For us, is the recall factor. So this is the key thing that we play in the micro markets.
Oh, got it, got it. Well, I'll move on to you, Piyush. When it say what is culturally appropriate or not, when you do a communication pan-India basis, according to you, who should be having a final say? Is it the brand team sitting out here in headquarters, or is it the local teams or your dealers or distributors kind of people who are there in the market and who knows the local nuances better? According to you, what it should be.
So I'll go by the thumb rule that I normally use, that the local team should be making almost all the decisions, because I think they understand it a lot better, and we have worked with teams, not just the sales team and the distributor, but even from creative side. If you get a local team on, I think that will be they should be making the decision. The brand team sitting in the head office, I think the only locus of control is that they should have a veto power on maybe 1% of the creatives, if they are sort of crossing a line, or they are going into a zone which you may think is not right for your brand, or slightly unsafe territory from that perspective. But I think a lot more control has to be on the local side than on the brand side. The brand, the central team sitting here cannot get the nuance of the 20 different markets. Like even a seemingly homogeneous market like UP is actually many markets. So you cannot have a central team deciding all of that by themselves.
Right. But when we see about the Attenborough films, not typical digital films or a TV ads, what you have done, it comes from a very quirky space.
Correct.
It is good to see a little more on a humor side and all that. When you design your outdoor campaign, is it an extension of a television campaign, same Attenborough, two kids standing, or you go beyond that and you said, no, I want to create an outdoor campaign which is like 6 words, this background, this is the contrast, or what is it like?
So what we've realized is inherently the humor that, and this may be very Attenborough specific, but inherently the humor that we use in Attenborough is a little bit more quirkier than what you can land in maybe an outdoor setting where people are going to whiz. Therefore, we've actually gone away from brand principles, if you may say so, and we don't use the two kids or the two Atom and Berg on the outdoor creatives. We have tried and avoided the stereotypical, just the messaging, but we have gone a lot more localized into what we are able to do.
Right. Pratik, if you want to add on about the creative call, local versus dealers versus the brand custodian.
Yeah, I think extremely important, as Piyush was also saying, especially for UP as a market. Recently, we have started a lingo which is understandable by that audience. Otherwise, it's like, if I have to just put it in a simple, I read it somewhere, it's like a global spine and a local skin. Uh, while on one side, our brand Pulsar, for example, which we promotes a lot, that brand will need to maintain its identity in terms of a thrill. That's the place where the Pulsar remains. But the way we have executed the creative, it talks about Dhakad, which means a daring aspect.
Right.
Now, I cannot say definitely daring. Probably someone sitting in Muzaffarpur may not understand. But the moment I say Dhakad daring, now that's a lingo which both our consumer there as well as our dealers would be interested in.
That's I think, one of the classic example of the localization. Sure. Himanshu, let me.
I'll actually give another example.
Sure.
We were trying to do creatives for TN and different cities of TN, and we realized that I don't know how many people here sitting here will know that Madurai is known as Tunganagari, and suddenly when you address the creative to Tunganagaram, it becomes a very different conversation versus you using the word Madurai. And then I think that is exactly the same nuance that I think Pratik was also saying.
Right. The local nuance makes,
and
changes
this cannot
everything.
come from the head office. Like, I don't think that this can ever, sitting in the head office, you will be able to get the nuance of every place and into every language dialect that is changing.
Right. Sure. Let me move to you, Himanshu. Segmento all about data and giving various aspects of it. What role does the data play today in driving the localization? And are we still relying on institution or the shopper, the decade-old idea, or there are sharper tools available today which help decode the city-level behavior and the consumer pattern?
So the short answer is yes. I mean, intuition is still a part of a journey, uh, but it is evolving. I mean, if you see fast forward to next to 2 to 3 years, intuition will slow down. Uh, I'll tell you how we are measuring this. So we delivered one automobile launch campaign for a four-wheeler back in pan India. So what we did is they had around 600 plus physical stores. So they took a hoarding OH campaigns live across pan India, and we were able to measure the impact. What were the number of devices entering and exiting these dealership? That's number one. And we were able to triangulate a user. So let's say if my device is traveling to maybe a Malad location, or also to a car location, or to a Bangalore location, we are also able to triangulate this device to a multiple location, and thus give them a ratio that these are set of devices which are very hot. Okay, so we could measure to a level which is also help you to do more sort of a production planning. So tomorrow if you want to do let's say two-wheeler launch or a four-wheeler launch, we can also help you understand what should be the production capacity you should be doing for a like a launch or a pre-launch kind of an activity. So that's how you could play around with the data as an offering altogether.
Any example? Like you said, you did it for a two-wheeler client and a four-wheeler client.
Yeah.
Did they extend it and used it for their production value or anything, or
Yeah,
they
so
just
yes.
kept it right now from a awareness point of view?
So it is currently at an awareness point of view only. Okay, but we are able to understand walk-in, walk-on data across their dealership. They want to understand what's the incrementality. So before the launch, what were the visit? After the launch, what is the incrementality? So those incrementality numbers are getting attributed to OH as a channel altogether.
That's brilliant.
I think in real estate, we have a very simple matrix. I think it's about once your outdoor is up, we check the site visits. I think that's clear attribution that goes to what are the source of site visits, and that links to bookings. So we clearly get the data in Salesforce or any other software that you use. Clearly the and the attribution goes to different sources, and outdoor being there, it's a direct attribution that happens. The second thing that we do is that I think many times you see brand along with the stakeholder, and here I am talking about the stakeholder where in our case are channel partners, maybe other categories have distributors and retailers. The channel partners, they keep doing digital also, and when I say programmatic and digital lead generation, the brand and the channel partner both fight for the leads on digital space.
Right.
But just think about outdoor, it's only the brand. And that's where they look for the brand to be present on a outdoor, and then they start their digital marketing. So they cannot do outdoor, whether it's a channel partner or retailer or a distributor. So the brand does the outdoor or ATL medium. Then they pick up the cue that, okay, the marketing has started, and they start their activity on digital space. So it's a integration that happens with your stakeholders to maximize the output.
Right.
Sure.
That happens at the secondary level, but that's so critical that you think about it. Outdoor is the only play that the channel partner or the stakeholder doesn't do. They do everything else, including SMS marketing, WhatsApp marketing, digital marketing. It's only the brand who does that ATL.
So Rajiv, we just want to highlight one more campaign. We executed a real estate campaign in it was in Whitefields primarily. So there were two hoardings. One was talking about stay closer to nature. One had a communication 2 minutes away from metro, 8 minutes away from British University. That was the communication. What we realized that the walk-ins numbers were much more higher than a number-centric hoardings, where we were talking about, let's say 2 minutes away from metro, 8 minutes away from British universities. These hoardings had higher walk-ins compared to something which was just talking about stay closer to nature. So that was a learning what we got. We started giving this feedback, let mix creatives which have numbers into it. Okay, so that was a feedback given to the real estate developer, and we got
absolutely. I think you are right. You see, real estate are different phase. I think when we do pre-launch, as you rightly say, the numbers are very critical. But when we get into sustenance, because the project is being there for 3 to 5 years time period, in sustenance you try to communicate the experience part of it. What is the lifestyle that you are going to get? What is the aspiration that getting filled through our product? That is the second level of communication you do, which is different than the pre-launch. That within the project you have 3-4 different phases, and within the phasing then you do the communication differently. And second thing is that, you know, the good thing about real estate is that when the competition gets active, and you know that where to place the hoarding. So you may not be active in terms of your product is on sustenance, you are not in a phase of pre-launch or launch, but your competition has started the project. Then you know that you have to put the hoarding outside the competition. So that's where it helps as a marketer, that how to be dynamic in nature and make sure that your marketing media mix is also dynamic.
Right. Piyush, you
Actually, wanted to make one small thing. I have a long background in FMCG, and one of the best indicators today, which didn't exist maybe 5 years ago, of your hoardings and outdoor impact, is what you can see on quick commerce, because quick commerce is extremely hyper local and the outdoors are also the same way. So if you can and I know a few brands who are basically correlating their outdoor deployment to their quick commerce searches and offtake which is happening.
Right.
While we don't have a panel of FMCG, but I think that is the quickest data. Like literally within 3 to 4 days, you can start seeing an uptick in terms of whether your category is getting picked up or not.
Absolutely true. Absolutely. Well, Amit, like how Rajiv mentioned that, outdoor is all about more site visits and the inquiries, and you can, directly attributes once you put up a outdoor, what kind of the needle, how it moved and all that. According to you, what I wanted to ask you is, in a localized messaging or an insight, like the closer to the nature or, certain kilometers away from this, even though you are in a ultra luxury space, so, I don't think so, those kind of a thing. But according to you, even be it, even could be for digital digital communication as well, how much localized messaging helps in moving the needle?
So I'll give you an example. Oberoi Realty has their projects all close to nature, but we have never used that kind of messaging on our outdoors or communication. Like if you talk about Goregaon, it's next to RA. Talk about our Borivali project, it's just bang opposite the Sanjay Gandhi National Park. Thane projects are just next to the Yor Hills. When we were launching in Thane, this is like around a year or two back, we thought of a very different strategy. We know that we are very strong on the Western Line, and we did have a project in Mulund. So let Thane also realize, like, we are coming over there. Thank you for that. So our messaging was very, very simple and impactful. And the only medium that we went live was outdoors. We painted the town, the entire Thane town, orange, because that was our kind of a creative color that we were using. And we just used very simple messaging, nothing else, and just Oberoi Realty brand logo. We run the whole thing for around 15 days till 20 days, and that activated the entire Thane market. So we are not looking at any kind of communication apart from our product. Our teasers were very, very impactful in Thane, and that set the tone. And soon we'll be launching something in Gurgaon as well. So we are working around the clock for that. But we don't deviate ourselves from the product and brand marketing. It's very important. And hoardings give us a lot of visibility in the micro markets. They generate a lot of walk-ins. If you talk about the channel partners, yes, they are very strong on digital, but the print ads, the hoardings, everything is done by the brand. So they help us a lot. And yeah, my agency was Madison, who executed the entire thing. So I'm
Superb.
very thankful for that.
Great, awesome. So, if I heard you correctly, outdoor was the only medium which you used for 15 days in
Only
Thane?
outdoor, and we painted the town like almost
Superb.
15
I think,
to 20.
guys, that calls for a big round of applause for ourselves. Outdoor was the only medium which real estate has used and got a great amount of traction out there. So, thank you so very much. Well, moving on, any one of you want to take this, who can share the example where the localized campaign genuinely outperformed the generic campaign creative or something?
Yeah, I'll just take it up. We had recently Gudi Padwa. I think it's the same, festival or culture all across Maharashtra. But we said that how to localize Gudi Padwa in a localized manner in a different project target segment point of view. So we got a brand philosophy which Gudi Padwa equal to Griho Padwa because the real estate is ghar, home, it's a part of the Roti Kopra Makan. So we said it's Gudi Padwa is Griho Padwa this year. And then I think today the AI is there to customize to your creatives to whatever numbers that you want to do it. So different projects, we have 6 to 7 projects in Bombay, starting from Ghatkopar, then BKC, Andheri. According to the local market and the data that we have in terms of profiling of the customer, we profile the imagery of the, what kind of imagery should go in the hoarding. If it's a couple, what kind of a couple imagery has to be there? In like a Ghatkopar, it is a family has to be there. It is more of, premium segment. So through AI, we have been able to customize creatives, and that creative only was up in the hoardings for that local markets, that 8-10 hoardings of that market. But the theme was same, whether it's a Griha Padwa, this Gudi Padwa, the theme was same, but the imagery and the aspiration levels are different. And that was well accepted purely because I did 100 hoardings, for example, with the same theme of Griha Padwa, which gave me the brand awareness on the top of the mind recall, which is higher. At the same time, I localized with the local aspiration with the imagery and got the walk-ins at the site level. So it's two things happening at the same time, but it has been able to do through creative differentiation and putting it with AI filter.
Right, and both are driving results for you.
Absolutely. The site walk-ins and all have been gone up.
Sure.
Yeah, I will also add one example which we did. 2 years back, we launched world's first CNG motorcycle by the name Freedom. Again, completely new concept. The consumer was not aware about it. Two big priority markets, incidentally, Mumbai and Delhi, because CNG is deeply penetrated. Delhi has adopted it quite long back. We did first launch campaign, which has a very generic message, which said "Azadi Aage Badhne Ki." So we painted the town, both Bombay and Delhi. Yes, we started getting inquiries. 6 months later, we changed the message and it was tweaked to from Ghatkopar to Vasai, from let's say Connaught Place to with a exact mileage which a bike can deliver, and it wondered for us. The reason for that, I think he also said, the moment you put numbers, it just gives you or your consumer the drive to walk in and probably start looking for it. So gig worker is one critical consumer set for us. They are our daily delivery agents at our places, and those were eventually we found the set of customers who started walking into a showroom were primarily these guys. And that's what, if you ask me, the moment you change it and make it more relevant to the, I think to the route, it will work for you.
So it's a localized campaign which genuinely outperformed the generic messaging, which otherwise you would have done it. Great. So that's, I think, one of the classic example of localization in modern out of home, how we can do it. Well, I think, I'll just have one last question, and I think everyone can go for it one after another. We can have it. It's like, if you had to give one piece of advice to brand trying to speak the language of the city, what's one thing they should get absolutely right and one thing they should totally avoid? Anyone wants to start, and then we can just one piece of advice.
Okay, I will take it first. I think just remain what you are. Be real in terms of your messaging, because consumers can actually make it out. If you're faking or you are trying to be contextual and helping them out to understand. So creatively, I think it should communicate what it means using media at the right place. I think that's what will work for the brand.
Right. While speaking the city language. Yush?
So I'll maybe take a step back and say that when you plan for it, you have to think of what your marketing job to be done is, whatever your job to be done is, and arriving at it from that rather than because if we just go to the agency and say, I have this master creative and can you adapt it and localize it into every city, into every language, they will put nuances which are, they'll paste a Howrah bridge and that will become Calcutta and so on and so forth. But I don't think that that's how it is. So starting with the job to be done and then arriving at it, and it obviously the design cycle is a little longer, but thanks to AI, we've been able to crunch that. But I think that is where the magic is, that brands must absolutely start with what is the local impact that we want to do in a city, and different cities are in different places of evolution. And I'll give an example from Attenborough. We are makers of BLDC fans. Some of you might be using those. Different parts of the country are in different stages of adoption of BLDC. So there are markets in the country where 70% of all fans sold are BLDC fans. It sounds astounding, but the market has completely transformed. There are markets which are less than 10%. Now, using a generic creative is not going to work. And we've done some work recently where in the markets which are very high adoption, the marketing objective is basically driving superiority, because everybody in market is trying to sell a BLDC fan. In markets where the adoption is very low, it is about driving penetration and driving awareness, because you have to do market development. You have to convince people to come for BLDC, and as a market leader, the onus lies on the brand to do it. So therefore, if we don't start from the marketing objective, the creative can be localized, the nuance can be there, the symbolism is there, and all of that. But I still don't think that the job can be done.
Right. Before we move on to you, I think let's take a point of view from you, Himanshu, from your experience in the various brands, what you have worked on. What, according to you, brands do absolutely right when it comes to talking the language of the city? And one thing which maybe somebody has done or not, even if they've not done, they should avoid.
Sure. I think considering localization as a piece, what I personally see it as moving from system of record to system of actions, primarily. One piece of advice for kind of a brands, or what they have done it really well, is they have treated cities not as cities but as a cluster altogether. What they have basically are able to evolve, that affluence in Mumbai is different than affluence in Pune. Okay, so these metrics they are able to fulfill into their backend. That's what they are able to shortlist screens much more faster and much more efficient. Okay, that's kind of a thing.
Sure. Rajiv.
I think whatever the medium that we are talking about, I think today content is very critical, and today people are scrolling then searching. I think that's has come out as a report. I think if I'm looking for a creative on outdoor, and irrespective of which city, I think I should look for a campaign rather than a single creative. I think that helps to build the story, and also from a content point of view, I think customer likes that story. I think irrespective of whatever hoarding I'm taking, I think we should look for a campaign. That's the, you have a creative which can go after a 5 days, 7 days period, so that you don't keep only one hoarding for 15-20 days. I think today that has becoming so critical that you change the screen, change the creative, but keep the same campaign, so that your story doesn't change. I think that's becoming critical now. Second thing, I think one is that we have to see that how to reduce the number of text. I think from outdoor visibility point of view, I think I keep on telling to my team, make sure that text are less and color, depending upon monsoon time, your summer season. I think it's so critical, and we miss that. And you'll see that that impacts the visibility to a large extent, whether it's a color combination or the font size or the text. I think that is so critical, but it's that people don't give that much attention.
Of course, when all said and done, this media is about 2.5 to 3 second media. So you rightly said that the kind of choosing of right words and a minimal word, saying less is more is the mantra for outdoor, and the way it needs to be done, it's fantastic. Another thing, what you said, I loved it. Even if the campaign is same, you need to do a creative refresh frequently, because a blind spot is something which gets created very fast in out of home industry. So
and good thing is that you have series of hoardings that's coming together. I think that is good experiment for a marketing team, that how to make a creative which is not same that I'm taking in the same 2-3 creative that is there in a series, but play a story, play a campaign, not a creative.
And more digital out of home helps you do that very frequently and very dynamically through programmatic as well. So
Absolutely.
that
So
is
it's
something.
a campaign, not creative. So my proposition will be that think about a campaign from the day one. Don't think about a creative.
Superb. One compliment which I would like to give, which Adani does fantastically, because I keep seeing on Eastern Express Highway you have one of your project, and during the festival and all that, inside the building through with the lights inside the flats, you create an mural of Ganesh ji and Diya during the Diwali and all
We
that.
did
And
Gudi Padwa also. So we did the Gudi also. So I think the play is that it's out of home as a facade lighting that we keep on doing. And it has come to a play that people are looking forward to what's going to come next. I think it's something like a Amul hoarding that people used to look forward. I think that facade has become such a unique feature. Every year that we do something interesting,
so
the last
truly
one is
using your own project as a canvas and doing the publicity on
it's
top
only
of
the
that.
lights.
That is something.
The cost is only the lights and the labor cost to put the design. I think that has come out very well.
Great, absolutely. Amit, last thought.
So our philosophy is very clear. While especially we very focus on storytelling, a lot of narratives, and that is on social media and other platforms. When we are like working on the hoarding communication or the outdoor communication, it has to be clean, clutter-free. Let the customer understand what you are talking and minimal words. Let the product do the talking, and the brand will speak for itself. So this has been the whole focus at Oberoi Realty.
Great. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And it was a lovely talking to you. And we had some great outcomes which has come from the panel here in terms of localization in modern out of home, what we can do, what kind of a creative one should use it, how frequently one should do the creative refreshment, how we can use our own media, take it as a canvas and then paint the city in that way. Outdoor is one of the leading medium when it comes to launching in a hyperlocal market, and Thane is one example you gave, and Gurgaon would be the next one which you said. And the brand which is more on a humor side, which is more on a quirky side, like Attenberg also uses this fantastically, and the way Pratik put it across the entire thing, where the impact drives it, especially when it comes to the cities which are like Pune or a tier 1 other cities and all that. It need not necessarily be the creative should be the king, but yeah, it could be a standard creative in a local nuances, but impact-led media can really drive the messaging. And Himanshu, as you rightly said, that there are a lot of data pointers which are available, which helps brand decide in terms of what worked, what did not work, and the cue can be taken from there, and how we can, improvise while doing the second campaign, third campaign going on, and what kind of a messaging, not only related to creative itself, but in terms of the audience, in terms of the profile, and which one of the thing great takeaway for me from that is companies can take that data and use it to decide about their production and upscale in the production or reducement, or a particular area need what kind of a lift or a push is something which can be done. So thank you very much, gentlemen. It was lovely talking to you all and having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jayesh, for curating such a fantastic discussion.
My pleasure.
And thank you to our panelists. May I also take the opportunity of welcoming the Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer of Ninja Media Creations, Siva Prasad. Let's give him a warm round of applause as we welcome him on the stage. Siva, we'd request you to please give a token of appreciation to all our eminent panelists. Of course, starting with Amit. Amit, thank you so much. Please do join me in giving him a big round of applause. Rajiv, thank you so much for your contribution on the panel today. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let that applause continue as we thank all our eminent panelists, of course, Pratik, then Piyush. Himanshu, thank you so much. And of course to our moderator and session chair, thank you so much, Jayesh. And may I urge all of you to please step forward ahead of the tables, allow us an opportunity to capture you all in one frame. Ahead of the tables will be better if you can all just join us in the center. We always love capturing those picture perfect moments, and I think they can only be better if you continue that applause for all of them. Hashtag e4m OOH conference as one word. Check. All right, so before we move to this very last session, and trust me, we've saved the best for the last, but we would like to ask a few things from the audience. Now, of course, at the start of the event, I did ask a few of you to scan the QR code and join the WhatsApp channel. Now, in the WhatsApp group, there's of course the headlines for today, which got published. Now, the first one who can correctly answer the headline for today, I'm going to give the gift, like I have a small thing to give away. So is there anyone? Of course, I'm sure a lot of you are trying to check now on the phone, what's the first headline? Smart, but that's what you can do. Who will remember the first headline? But all you have to do is just raise your hand and read it out to me without looking into your phones. Let me see if anyone out here who can tell me the first headline of today. She's rehearsing it really hard. She's like, Bhavna, I will try. I need the gift. Please give it to me. So I know whom to come towards. You don't know? Okay, she's just smiling then. Any of you? That's okay. Do you know? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, what do we do? So we have to give it to somebody who is taking that initiative. Apologies, sir. Firstly, what's your name and what brand you represent? And then please let us know the headline.
Well, I'm Melissa Mendonça and I'm representing Madison World. So the first headline is ad dollars return to magazines as trust gain value.
You know what that means? That's okay. See, my question was just the headline, so I'm going to give it to her. You want to contribute to that answer? What does it mean? Oh, wow. Okay.
So I believe the meaning for that would be that the expenditure or the investment on magazines is returning as people are increasingly using or viewing it, and gaining information from the magazines. So my name is also e4m from Madison World as well.
He didn't mean that his name is also the same, but it's just the brand which is the same. I think this is entirely Madison World. Wow, I love entering in the Madison World out here. Okay, so we're just going to quickly give something to her, of course. Just a small gesture from our side. Please do enjoy it ahead. Please continue that applause for them. And of course, if you would want to continue getting these opportunities, but on a serious note, I would urge and request, and it's a final request, and I know a lot of you have already scanned, scan the QR code on the 10 cards to join the WhatsApp channel. That's going to keep you well updated about the industry trends, the news which is happening. So kudos to all of you on doing the same. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the final session for today. Some leaders build agencies, but there are some who shape industries. And then there are those very rare few who quietly redefine how brands connect with people at scale. Our next speaker is that one such special force, someone who has not only witnessed the evolution of media, but has consistently stayed ahead of it. A founder, visionary, and one of the most respected voices in the Indian advertising space. Ladies and gentlemen, always such an honor Please do join me in welcoming none other than the chairman, Madison World, Mr. Sam Balsara. Come on, Mumbai. We need to be much more better with that applause as Mr. Balsara joins us. Thank you so much, Mr. Balsara. Just allow me a moment.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I've taken the liberty of slightly modifying the subject. Oh, the new one is there. So, we run 2 outdoor agencies, and I think we have often discussed this, is that whilst the outdoor market is growing quite well, or I would say reasonably well, how do we make it play a larger role in the entire ecosystem? And to play a larger role, it should have at least a 10% share of the market, which today it is not. So I have some bad news and then I have some good news. So let's get over the bad news first, and I'll give you some numbers. To start with, outdoor as a medium exists all over the world and probably the first medium to come into any country. But the world today has only 5% of ADEX contributing to global ADEX. If I see the last 5 years, global ADEX contribution of outdoor is constant at about 5%. So the not so good news is that advertisers collectively look at outdoor as a minor supportive medium. In some countries, it is higher than the average 5%, with Japan at 10%, France at 8%, and Australia at 7%. On the other hand, in the largest advertising market, which is of course the US, outdoor contributes only 2%. So you could blame this low percentage to the rapid growth of digital all over the world. Digital has been growing astronomically and contributes, hold your breath, to 79% of total ADEX in 2025 and is projected to grow to 81% in 2026. I'm quoting RECMA figures for these global numbers. So imagine all other mediums which have been strong at one time or the other, TV, print, radio, cinema, collectively contribute only 19% to overall ADEX. Now coming to India, outdoor contributed 4.3% in 2024. It came down dramatically to 3.1% in 25 and is further expected to decline to 2.9% in 2026. Now, mind you, I'm talking about percentage of outdoor to total advertising. You can see that growth rates have also not been very encouraging either, having come down from almost 10% a few years ago to 4% in 25 and is projected to be 5% in 26. You could again blame these low figures to digital, which is expected to grow to 60% in 2026, which is one of the lower digital contributions around the world. So it's no consolation to see that the growth of 4% in outdoor is the highest amongst traditional media. Whilst growth is low, outdoor has been growing year on year, having grown from about 2000 crores a few years ago to 5000 crores in 26 in absolute numbers. So some of us can take the view that we are doing well, is growing well. So let's not worry so much about what is its percentage to ADEX. But the honest truth is that from an advertiser point of view, all media are the same and money can easily flow from one to the other. But I think all of us in this room are optimists by nature, and we cannot accept such low growth rates or absolute numbers when we know that we use outdoor quite aggressively for many clients and it works well for advertisers. By and large, if many of the parameters that Jayesh spoke about, and I'm sure the earlier speakers did, are fine. So we have to resolve to make outdoor grow. What do we do now to make it grow? The first thing we must understand is that advertising is an intermediate product. Advertisers use advertising to grow brand shares and profit. Advertising is not for personal consumption. So the only way that we can increase the advertising pie in India is by increasing return on the advertising rupee spent on outdoor. Within advertising, how do we show that returns on a rupee spent on advertising is higher than other media? So over the years, I have made suggestions to you in different forms. Today, I have 8 suggestions for you to make outdoor advertising specifically grow. My suggestion number 1 is that we must collectively make all efforts to bring more categories into outdoor. Why do I say this? Digital, with a 60% market share, it has 10 lakh advertisers. 10 lakh. Print, on the other hand, is only 1,73,000 advertisers. Small in comparison, but huge till digital came along. Linear TV, surprising to some of you, which was the ruling kingpin of all media some years ago, has only about 10,000 advertisers. 10,000. But in the last 2 years, it's showing some negative signs, and in the last 2 years, it has come down from about 11,000. So TV has lost 1,000 advertisers recently, mainly to digital. Radio also has about 10,000 advertisers. Now let's see how many advertisers are on outdoor. Can you take a guess? It is only about 1,100 advertisers. when I say 1100, I obviously don't include the casual advertiser who just takes one ad or two ads once in a year or twice in a year or something like that. I mean regular advertisers who spend a fair amount of money, even though it's maybe a small percentage, on outdoor. So we need to do something to take the advertising number higher. How do we bring more advertisers to try outdoor? We have to build, in my view, a body of knowledge across categories for what categories outdoor works well, where it works, why does it not work. Equipped with this knowledge, we should make attractive entry-level commercial proposals to those categories who have not used outdoor and persuade them to try it. For those categories where we know it doesn't work based on our study, we should not push it. This will require some pioneering effort on the part of outdoor agencies and outdoor owners to bring more categories in. It will require us to develop a scientific basis for evaluation and keep track of such evaluations so that over a period of time we have this body of knowledge and case studies to show proof that it is working. By way of proof, I dare say we currently do not have too much of it, except quite a few anecdotal stories. Perhaps the IOAA can appoint a senior retired outdoor person to collect 2 to 3% from outdoor agencies and outdoor owners to create a fund to spend on this very important aspect. My second suggestion is that we know there are some respected marketing professionals who are prominent in our world of marketing and who like outdoor, or should I say even love outdoor. We should develop testimonials from such people and play them heavily on outdoor sites that are vacant. Everybody likes to see his face splashed on outdoors, so even they will get something in return. Here is one such testimonial from Madhur Pandey, VP Marketing at Pale Agro. He says, we at Pale Agro use outdoor quite extensively during peak season because we find that outdoor delivers all our messages with great impact, and ROI on outdoor is also good. During season, we spend 20% of our media budget on outdoor. Now, imagine the power of this statement coming from a genuine advertiser who is vouching for outdoor. And I'm sure he'll be happy if he sees his photo splashed on an outdoor hoarding. Like that, I'm sure there'll be many people who will come forward to lend support to this. Correct? My third point or third suggestion is improving the creative product. It is no secret that creative agency people do not focus their attention on outdoor creative. Creative reputations are built earlier on TV films and now digital. Today, to overcome this, all outdoor agencies have taken the initiative to have a creative department within the outdoor agency. This has no doubt helped. But yet, how many outdoor signs get attention from passers-by? My ideal creative for outdoor would be use no more than 5 or 6 words, have one dominant visual or word, and use flat, bold colors. How many sites do we see today that meet my parameters? Another related point, when I see collectively all outdoor sites, I would categorize them into 3 broad types. Sites with long visibility, sites with mid visibility, and sites with close visibility. A sophistication that we could add is that in the creative area, for every creative, we have 3 versions for the above 3 types and use only the appropriate type at which site. I know this is a little sort of complex to do, but I think we can do it, and hopefully it's considerably easier to implement than what Jayesh was talking about in terms of localization. Also, a very common sight, and I've never been able to understand this, is I see many hoardings cramped with too much information. This is the most common, and I believe it does the biggest disservice to the medium as such, because I'm sure it would not work, and I'm sure it is being done only for the satisfaction of the person who's paying for the hoarding. So even if they come to an agency and is done through an agency, I think the outdoor agency should persuade the advertiser to say, sir, it may not work. Or if there is no outdoor agency in between, then the media owner should, in his own self-interest, tell the advertiser that this may not work. All of you would agree, that's my next point, lends itself to innovation like no other medium. And yet, if you take 100 sites, how many would have some innovative execution on it? We need to do a lot more in the area of innovation to make outdoor come alive and get the attention of consumers. My next suggestion is that we need to involve the media planner at the main agency. No doubt we have done a good job by separating outdoor from media and thus focus attention on it. But I think it's very important to keep the main media planner at the main agency who's controlling the budget to allocate some money from outdoor. To do this, I think he needs to be kept constantly updated about what is available, costs, sizes, and whatnot. We need to occasionally spend time with the media planner or send them an updated handbook on what is available, at what price, how it can be used with innovation or without, so that outdoor is on his mind when the master media allocation is done. It should not be left to the client to provide a separate allocation for outdoor when he receives the media plan. Even if he does, if the master media allocation has outdoor, it would reinforce his view My next point is that for the last few years, we have seen strong emergence of digital OH. Whilst that is by itself interesting, useful, and will take outdoor forward, I feel we should use this data to open up a new category of luxury goods like luxury cars, perfumes, cosmetics, and fashion, to bring them into the outdoor market and see for themselves what sophistication and how we can also do justice to their creative products. My next suggestion is adding the power of technology to the outdoor medium. It is quite amazing to see what technology can do when applied to outdoor. We should take every opportunity to do this and improve the power and attention of the medium. I wanted to show you some examples, but I think in the interest of time, I'll skip it. I also think that technology lends itself very well to outdoor, and we have quite a few experts here. The only disadvantage is that we have to overcome the cost barrier. I think that is quite important, but hopefully the results will take care of that additional cost. My next suggestion would be to establish a forum where all above that I spoke about are routinely exposed to advertisers so that they don't forget to harness the power of outdoor in their interests when being swept away by digital. Perhaps once a quarter we can get into a room like this and expose them to what are the new things, what are the new innovations, and what works, what doesn't work, so that outdoor is continuously on their mind. I was very happy to see the advertisers in the session before me, but the honest truth is that they are from very few categories and not the high paying categories. So we didn't see FMCG, we didn't see so many other high spending categories on the floor here just now. My last suggestion is to understand, for this we'll need some external help from our partners across the world, to see why some countries do better, like Japan, France, and Australia. What additional categories have they succeeded in bringing in? How is the market so high there than in India? What are they doing which we cannot easily do? What are they? What surely they don't have just 1000 categories. My closing suggestion is that even if a few of my 8 suggestions are implemented, we will see a dramatic difference in our growth rates. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Sam. We just request you to please stay with us on stage. Of course, just the notes if we can take care. And we just like to give you a memento, a small memento. Now, towards the end, of course, we want to do the lucky draw. And what I'm going to request from my team is if you can just bring a mic as well. And Sam, we'll just join you there. We just want you to pick out one shit from the fishbowl and let us know who's the lucky winner. The mic. So Sam, after you have picked up that shit, we just request you to read out the name if it's a possibility, if it's readable firstly.
Mandar Karve. 9819121679.
Mandar, do we have Mandar in the room? Mandar Karve? Looks like Mandar is not there. Sam, if you can just pick up one more, we'll just try our level best. If you can have someone in the room, we'd just like to give.
Upashri Singh from Lemma.
Upashri Singh from Lemma? All right, we hope it's 3 times. Is that?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Let's give it a big, big round of applause. And Sam, if you can just give the envelope, it's got something really exciting for her. It's a voucher. We just like her to celebrate this moment. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you. Well, such a fantastic day. Well, surely one person got lucky. I'm sure she's thanking her stars that the previous winner wasn't in the room. So good luck on that. But ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the fantastic end of the 8th edition of the e4m OH Conference 2026. Firstly, I'd request all of you to give yourselves a big round of applause and the entire team of Exchange for Media for yet another fantastic year. We'd of course now like you to join us in the pre-function area, re-register as we get ready for the 15th edition of the e4m Neon OH Awards 2026. So we'd request all of you to please now join us in the pre-function area. Have a great time ahead. And this is me, Bhavna Bhatia, signing off from the conference. We'll see you shortly at the awards. Thank you so much. Check. Ladies and gentlemen, may we please request you to vacate the hall with your belongings and re-register as we're going to be closing doors of this hall. Please requesting all of you to take your belongings along. We're going to be doing an entire different setup inside and we're going to be shutting the doors right now. So requesting all of you to kindly exit. One final request for all of you to please take your belongings and join us in the pre-function area. Please re-register. The doors are going to be shut. Requesting everyone to kindly exit the main hall. We're getting ready for the awards. May we request you to please take your belongings along all your bags if you have any, as we're doing an entire different setup. Thank you.
पीछे नहीं जा रहा था, पीछे जा रहा गिर रहा है फिर इधर ये देख टीवी